All right, this is Professor Denholtz. I'm going to be recording Lab 3 and Problem 1. So this is Problem 1 of Lab 3. And I'm going to start by, actually I don't want to start by opening a new folder. I want to open my layer template because I'm going to have multiple layers. And so this is going to bring in all the layers that I've previously created. And then I'm going to give this a new name. So File, Save As. I'm going to call this Professor Denholtz underscore Lab 3 underscore Problem 1. And so we still have our layer template file, but now we have this new file that has all the layers that I could possibly want to switch between. And so here we have a mug. Just some things to note about it. This is what we're going to be drawing, where this is the top view of the mug and this is the front view of the mug. We have some chamfers on the side. That's the 0.125 by 0.125. So it's just saying the chamfer, the vertical length and the horizontal length are each 0.125. We also have a bunch of fillets and rounds. So we have them, a bunch of them by the handle and also on the sides of the handle and over here with the hidden line with the handle. All those are going to be filleted. And I think I'm going to start with the bottom part. You really could start with either, but you're not going to be able to find this length of the handle without either doing math or using a projection line. So I figure I'll probably start with this one because I think I could draw almost all of it except for maybe the hidden lines I'll have to come back to. But let's start with the exterior shape of the handle. And so it makes a rectangle that's 2 across and 2.5 vertically. So I'm just going to start it. I'm going to drop it anywhere. And so the other corner will be 2 and 2.5. And you can always check too by doing either a measure or a dimension. We're going to be teaching dimensions on the fourth and fifth week. So actually next week we'll start with them. So we can see that this is 2.5 and this is 2. So we know that we're doing everything properly, and you could check that periodically as you see fit. You could check dimensions as we're going. And so that's the first part of the exterior shape. So again, I'm going to chamfer at the end, so I'm just going to leave these with corners. I'm not going to cut those corners yet. And I could see that there's 2 of these centers are going to be at 1.75 up from the bottom edge. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to my construction layer. So now I'm just going to draw construction lines, and I'm just going to draw a horizontal line going way out to the left. And then I'm going to do an offset. So I'm going to use the offset command where I'm going to offset it by that 1.75. And so now we could see that on this line is where we're going to have, the center of this arc for the top part of the handle and the center of this arc for the bottom part of the handle. And I also want to define where they are. So we can see, actually, let's start with the left part. So the left one is 0.5 from the left edge. So I'm going to draw another construction line. This time I'm going to do it on the left edge. And I'm going to do an offset here as well. And so that's going to find this corner over here. So offset, and as we can see, it's an offset of 0.5. So I'm going to type in 0.5, highlight this, and over here. So this point, we've basically located this point over here. And I still want to locate this point. So here I'm going to look at the top drawing. And so this hidden line shows that the inside of the mug is hollow, and this gap here is sort of the thickness of the mug. And we can also see that, by looking at the top view. And so this other point is going to be positioned on the inside right over here. And so this point, either we could start drawing the second uh, object, or we could just measure what it is. You know what? Maybe I will start drawing it. So I'm going to start with again, a construction line. So at the midpoint, this is going to show me, where I'm going to want to center my other circle. So I'm just going to move this pretty far up. And somewhere along here, we want to have a circle with a diameter of 2, which is the outside. So we can see that over here, this diameter of 2 lines up with the edges of the larger circle. And then the inside one has a diameter of 1.5. So let's do that. Let's get a circle, and we could place this anywhere. I want to do it sufficiently high up, but I might want to move it closer at the end. So here, I'll put it over here. And actually, I don't want that on construction layer. I'm going to put that on my solid line layer. So I'm going to make it 2, and then there's going to be a second one, which is 1. And so I want to make sure I get the same center. And this is going to be 1.5. And so this is basically the start of what we have here. We have diameters of 1.5 and of 1. Now I'm going to switch on to my projection layer, and I'm going to project lines downward for where the hidden lines will be. And one of those hidden lines is going to be this point over here, which is also going to tell us where to make the arc for the handle. So now that we have projection lines, let me check my snap. Let's see what I have on. Okay, all right, I have basically everything on my object snap. I want to make sure I get right in that center. So it looks like my nearest is getting in the way, so I'll just turn that off. There we go. So now my projection line, I'm just going to go past the edge. And at this point over here, where the projection line intersects this horizontal line, that's this center that we were looking for. Now, just to kind of wrap up what I was doing, I'm going to do a projection line on the other side as well. I mean, we don't need it for the handle right now, but we are going to need it later. So I'll just draw that as well. Okay, so now I'm going to go back down here, and I'm going to go back to the handle. And so I'm going to go on to a solid layer. And now I'm going to draw this part. So I know it's a radius of 0.5. They give that to me. I know the center is over here. And you know what? I do want to mark off a starting point, right? Because I'm either going to need, I need 3 pieces of information. And so I have the center, radius, and I usually like start or end or something like that. So I'm going to put in a starting point also. This is more of just my own personal style. Somebody might do it in a different way. And I'm going to offset this by 0.5 because that's going to be this top over here. So we made the line at 1.75. Now we're going to make a line that's going to intersect right over here, which is also going to show us, where that handle is. So let's do that. So offset of 0.5. So we already have 0.5 in. And that 0.5 I know because it's the radius. So if this radius is 0.5, that means at this point, from the top here to over here, This distance is 0.5 because we know that from the radius. So I'm going to select this object, and I want it to be, at 0.5 up. Okay. All right, so now I have enough information to define that arc. So I'm going to go on to my, oh, I'm already on the solid layer. So we're going to do an arc. We're going to do it with start, center, and radius. Or we could do angle. Yeah, that'll work fine too. So center, start, angle. So we were starting over here. I'm sorry, this was the center point, not the start. So here's our center point. And we're going to start up here, and we're going to go through 90 degrees. There you go. So we have this as being 90 degrees, and now I'm going to just connect that line back to the handle with a straight line. Okay, so now we're getting through our mug. Now, just to kind of see it, I'm just going to remove the construction lines for a second. One second. Just so we can see what that looks like. So construction. You know, we can see that we're kind of getting there. It's hard to see with some of the construction lines, but I'll add them back in. We are moving in the direction that we want to be moving in. All right, so the next thing I would note is that this is a thickness of 0.25. It's throughout, so basically each of the lines we just drew, we could do with an offset of 0.25. So let's do that. Okay, so now we have the top part of the handle all finished. Now the next part is going to be a radius of 1 from this point. So it's going to be starting over here. I'm sorry, centered over here. And it's going to start over here. And it's going to go pretty far down. So I'm going to use, let's see, center start angle. Yeah, that's good. We could do that again. So we're going to be centered over here. We're going to start where this one left off. And I just want to have this be sufficiently long. I'm going to trim it. So it really just needs to be long enough. And turn off my dynamic input here. And actually my object snap is being quite odd. But all right, so that's good. So 90 degrees. So now we're going to have to trim this because it's going a little bit far. But for right now, this is okay. And so I'm going to do an offset again of 0.25 to finish up the handle over there. Okay, so we have the bulk of our solid lines here. I'm, you know what, I actually am going to hide some layers right now. It's just going to be a little bit easier to see without the construction and the projection line, just while I finish up the front view of the mug. So this is what we have so far. We're coming along. I'm going to do some trims now. So this is going to be our trimming line. Get rid of that. Okay. And next, I can add in the chamfers and the fillets. So let's do the chamfer first. So type in chamfer, and we're going to use distance and the first distance. So it's each going to be 0.125. So 0.125 and 0.125. And let's see. Oh, I probably wanted to do the trim option, so I'll do that again. All right, so I'm going to trim it, And use distance 0.125, 0.125. There we go. So now we've removed the corner when we've done it that way. So I'm going to do that again. So trim, we have it with the trim and the distances of 0.125. And we're just going to do it on the opposite side. And we also have a line connecting each of these. And the fillets and rounds, we could see our 0.1. We have some over at each of these corners. So we can type in fillet. And we're going to give the radius, which is 0.1. Oops. All right, you know what? I'm going to come back to this. Actually, you know what? I think we could fix this. I think part of the problem is that we're using a rectangle, so we're going to explode it and break it into bits, but I'm actually going to take this opportunity to end this part so we could break it into parts.